Hey, scrappy people, it's Tracy Reed here today, coming at you with the next installment in my Journey Home Travel 6x8 album. And today I'm doing something kind of fun. I'm creating a floating layout. So I have a piece of transparency here, and I'm just going to build a cluster in this bottom right-hand corner of this transparency, because I want it to just kind of, be floating in my album. So I didn't want there to be a full like 4x6 or no 6x8 divider in my album, which if I had built an entire 6x8 layout with the background papers and everything, it would feel like a stop, like a divider, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted something a little bit more light and airy, so I decided to build my layout on a transparency instead. So you can see that I've put together the cluster here that I want to make, and I'm using some old, I don't even know what line this is anymore. It was a Thanksgiving line from last year, and I just have the ephemera from it. So I'm using it to, I really like it with this photo, and especially since I have some ephemera that from the rehearsal dinner, which is where this picture was taken at. This is me and my little brother at his rehearsal dinner. Anyway, I have the invitation to the rehearsal dinner, which was very conveniently a 9-inch by 4-inch invitation that they sent, and it's very pretty, and it's on craft paper. So I've got kind of a brown and moody vibe going on with that ephemera, so I'm just kind of replicating it with this layout. So I'm using red line tape here, and I am creating a pocket behind this photo for some hidden journaling. I have this journal card from a digital printable kit from the Lily Pad, and it has a beer, like a beer stein on it, and my brother had his rehearsal dinner at a brewery, so that was perfect. And I just adhered the red line tape just slightly larger than the actual pocket card, so it has like a nice little slot to go into, and I put the tape where I wanted the card to stop moving so that it would stick out the top a little bit. So I'm going to adhere this directly down onto the transparency, and you can see some things I adhere onto the transparency and some things I adhere on to the photo, and that is so that nothing gets in the way behind the essentially the railing I created for that journal card. Nothing gets in the way and stops it from sliding in and out of the pocket. So that's what I'm doing right now, and I found this ampersand stuck to my sleeve when I went to go hang this sweater up at the end of this night. So I put adhesive on this ampersand and then never used it. So there's that. It's going to get stuck to my sleeve probably pretty quickly, and then I'll never see it again, and I won't think about it again either until I rip it off of my sweater later that night. Oh, there it goes right there. Yep. That's hilarious. Okay, so I've got the pocket here. You can see that ampersand. It's going to be there the whole video. Well, almost. So I've got the pocket for the journaling card, and I just stuck a little tag back there too that says "all gathered together," I believe. And so I went home for my brother's wedding, and my dad, of course, went home for my brother's wedding. I live in Tennessee. My dad lives in Louisiana, and the home for us is California. So I thought that all gathered together sentiment worked really well, even though, of course, it's not Thanksgiving. Using these little pearls from a Cocoa Daisy collection, they're Kaiser Craft, just for some added bling. It is a wedding after all. Okay, so I've got this side built, and now the question becomes, what do you do with the other side when you can see all of the background? Oh, and I'm trying to decide here if I want it before or after, and I'm going to put it before, because what I'm going to do on the back here is I'm going to create another floating layout, but this time it's going to be of Patrick and I on our way to the wedding. So I didn't want the invitation for the rehearsal dinner to be after Patrick and I in the car on the way to the wedding, because it doesn't make sense. Now, you guys, I totally screwed up, and you'll see me do it in just a second. So what I end up having to do is reprint this photo. and I have to do it the next day because my printer is out of commission, so I have to get all of my photos printed, and I was working on this at like 8 o'clock at night, and so it was too late to get the photo reprinted. So I'm going to come back to this side of the layout after I do my big mess up, which you will see in just a second. But right now I'm just concentrating on covering up the really ugly parts of the back of that layout. So I really want to pay attention to A, covering up the ugly parts of the previous layout, and B, not adding any ugly parts to the previous layout. So I'm trying to keep my cluster here contained in the space that's already provided, and if anything is sticking out, it's going to coordinate with the other side. So that pocket is sticking out on the other side, so I'm going to double check and make sure that it looks okay, or do I need to cover it up? So it looks okay. It has floral and black on the back side, so it looked fine. So that was a big plus. I don't mind having the back of the tag peek out above Patrick and I. It has a little bow on it, so it's cute. And here we go. Ugh, you guys, that sticker was so sticky, and I tried really hard to get it all off of Patrick's face, but it left like a cloudy mess, and so I was so mad, so mad. But it did prove an advantage because when I end up reprinting this photo, I printed in 2 sizes because I thought it was too big the size that it was, and I was right. So I'm going to reprint it in the size that it is right now, which is slightly smaller than a 4x6, and I'm also going to reprint it even smaller, so it's more like not a 3x4, but you know, somewhere in between, like a 3x5 or something like that. So I decided that I'm just going to keep building the cluster around the photo as much as I can so that I can get it as done as possible before I have to reprint the photo. So I'm going to cover up that little white space, which is actually the back of the photo, with just another little sticker here. It's a little floral one. I'm loving that I'm using up my stash for this album, and I'm really digging deep into it to coordinate and all of that. This acrylic piece is from Coco Daisy from the Valentine's collection this year, and I just thought it was a perfect little see-through element for this 3x8 pocket. And so I'm kind of contemplating what I want to do next. And unfortunately, my camera does cut out for a second, and I didn't realize it. You don't really miss much, just me decorating that photo of myself, basically. I decided to back it with a journaling card because what I'm going to talk about is my sister does lash extensions as her business, and she's really, really awesome at it. But of course, I live, you know, a million miles away, so I never get to get lash extensions from her. So I really wanted to draw some lashes, and I wanted it to just be easy. So I just drew it on these tags on these journey stickers that I never use. So I'm just drawing a nice little lash outline, and I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to spare you watching me cut it too much. So I cut it following the lash lines, and I kind of fringe the lashes a little bit, which is cute. And I'm just going to put them right here on the top of this journaling card. So I just flip over the lash I drew before, and I'm just kind of creating a neat outline for the second lash. They don't have to be perfect, and they don't end up perfect, but they're cute. I'm going to decorate the bottom corner of this card just to make it a little bit more interesting. And I had also decorated the photo in that time when I lost some footage, so that's the photo all decorated. So now I'm going to switch over to the next day here pretty quickly with the pictures printed out, reprinted out. This isn't it. I'm still using that one as a placeholder. Decided I wanted it to be above this photo when I reprint it, so I just adhered it on one side so that I leave room to slide the photo underneath. Okay, now we're at the next day. You can see that this photo is slightly smaller, and I like it a lot better. So I'm going to just slide that right under there. And I tried to pull this sticker up, but it had been there all night, so it didn't work. So instead I have to build something at the top here to cover it up on this side now. So I'm just adding a few little border stickers, some hexagons, or half hexagons I should say. Do it again down here as well. Some little word strips, and I'm going to call it good. So cute. I love this floating layout effect. It's so fun. I'm going to add in some of these pearls just like on the other side. Then I'm going to add it into my album, and I will slow down and show you what it looks like all together in the album. So what I really love is this Love With All Your Heart frames the faces of my new sister and my brother on their save the date. So we've got the invitation to the dinner, this floating layout, and then the back side of the floating layout as well. And then you can see this Love With All Your Heart frames their faces. It's so fun. All right, so that is it for this video. I will see you next time. If you enjoyed it, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you, and I will see you next time. Thank you.